Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria is the fight to make next. I completely agree with Khabib. That's a first. But I completely agree with Khabib when he said in a recent statement that that is the biggest fight to make over Jones and Pereira. I completely agree. This is this is honestly, I think this will be one of the biggest fights since Conor McGregor and Khabib, because there's so much what's the word I'm looking for? There's so much there's been so much said between the two, and there's so much that's been added to the storyline. Like, they both moved up a division, captured a second belt, even though they had to vacate their belt from the lower weight class. They're still essentially double champions. We've never had two double champions face each other. So this is the fight to make. I just want to bring up some what Dana White actually said at the post-fight press conference, and he was asked obviously whether Islam Makhachev will fight Ilia Topuria next, and he said, "I don't know. We have a lot of options. It depends on what Islam wants to do." I think Islam, being the guy, the man he is, I think he's going to accept the challenge and fight Ilia Topuria. Money wise, it makes sense, and I think legacy wise, it does make sense because of the storyline. Two double champs, and they both beaten and knocked out similar to former. They both had two of the same opponents and knocked both of them out. So I do think that is the fight to make, and I'm happy that, because Paddy Piblet has been saying that Ilia Topuria hasn't signed the contract yet. And to be honest, I've been forgetting to make a video about this, because I genuinely think that if the contract for Paddy was put forth to Ilia Topuria, I genuinely think that he was waiting for the outcome of Islam and JDM. Because if we're being honest, I know him and Paddy do have a little, rivalry or whatever you want to call it, but I think the spectacle of Islam and Ilia is just way bigger. I genuinely believe that is the biggest fight in the UFC right now, and it makes the most sense. So many people think Islam ragdolls Ilia Topuria, and so many people think Ilia Topuria snipes Islam Makhachev. And one thing I will say, yeah, after seeing Islam against Jack Della Maddalena, obviously Ilia's ground game is better than Jack Della Maddalena's. My only worry is listen, Ilia moving up to welterweight. I don't know, man. It's a tough ask, and I just think going up to welterweight gives Islam Makhachev a better advantage. He doesn't have to cut as much weight. In fact, he doesn't have to cut. Barely any weight he has to cut. Even you could see it. He looked like he enjoyed being at welterweight after post-fight speech. He said he's enjoying life. He's happy where he's at. So I genuinely think, I don't think Islam is going to be as dangerous at welterweight, just because I think the guys are a lot bigger and stronger than the guys at lightweight, and these Dagestanis are quite strong, So I'm not saying Islam was weight bullying, but I do think he had a strength advantage against a lot of guys in that lightweight division. Like, even when he was on the ground with Jack, if that was in lightweight, he would have submitted Jack, in my honest opinion. If he was fighting a lightweight, he would have submitted him. So, but I still think Ilia coming up, and Ilia's what, 5'5", 5'6". He's a short guy. My worry is, if they get in a clinch situation and ground situation, Islam could potentially ragdoll him. I'm not gonna lie, I can see it happening, because even in the Charles and Ilia fight, when they did hit the ground, you could see that Ilia, same with Islam, when he's moved up to welterweight, you could see he couldn't have his way as much because the guys are stronger, bigger. So when Ilia and Charles hit the ground, Ilia didn't look as strong in that situation, and look what Islam was able to do to Charles Oliveira. I know MMA maths doesn't work like that, but they both dealt with Charles Oliveira. But it is the fight to make. It's a difficult one to call because it's definitely a 50-50 fight. Because even watching Islam and JDM, when JDM was trying to strike, you could tell that Islam Makhachev was a bit worried about the boxing. But once he got his takedown and he realized, yeah, I can do this for 25 minutes. My man hasn't really got any answers for this. You could see he got more confident. He was very comfortable. And he did well with the low kicks. And that's something that he will use against Ilia Topuria. He is going to use the low kicks against Ilia Topuria. And he probably will set up the high kicks as well, because Ilia Topuria, again, is short. He's similar height to Alexander Volkanovski. So Islam will look to set that up. But that is the fight to make. And you know what? I'm just going to say how it is. I love Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor definitely should be on the White House card, but Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev should be on the White House card. I'm not going to lie. That will blow that. If you have Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev, Conor McGregor, John Jones, and Conor McGregor versus, I don't know, and John Jones versus, I don't know, whoever. Bro, that card is going to sell out. That's probably, for the fact you're just going to have Conor McGregor on that card, is going to do well. Adding Ilia Topuria and Islam and John Jones to that card, it will probably be the biggest pay-per-view. If Conor's the main event, I'll be honest, Conor has to be the main event. But it's a bit difficult because he's not fighting for a belt. So, but that card has potential to do very, very well if they do it right. They could essentially do something similar to UFC 300, where it's just a completely stacked card, and I think they need to do that and have McGregor. If you have McGregor on that card, it's gonna do numbers, and then you add the super fight to that, selling out, 100% selling out, man. But that's definitely the fight to make next. It's a very interesting matchup, but at this moment in time, that's a fight I cannot predict. I think I need to go and do some more film studying, and that's what I'm going to do over the next couple of months. I'm going to do some film studying, watch the two styles. I'm even going to go early into their careers, follow it from early, watch tape from early till now. And because to be fair, it's been a while since I've done a detailed breakdown like that. So, that's what I'm going to do. Look out for that video. I'm also going to be doing the Islam versus Khabib comparison, because I do think Islam Makhachev is the more well-rounded mixed martial artist, but obviously Khabib is the better wrestler. And so that some of you guys can stop talking shit, we are going to do a comparison, and we are going to see, we are going to break it down. You understand? Because some of you Khabib fans are you're just slipping on his semen. That's as real as it gets. But who do you guys think Islam Makhachev should fight next? Should it be Ilia Topuria, or should he defend his belt against one of the contenders in the welterweight division? Like, for example, people are saying he should fight Kamaru Usman. That's not a bad fight, to be fair. It's just at this stage of Kamaru's career, with how bad his knees are, I don't know how that fight would go. Although Kamaru would probably do the best when it comes to the wrestling side of things. I mean, look what he did with Chimaev. Look what he did with Chimaev. And listen, as much as I'm not the biggest fan of Kamaru. He's a he's a he's a Niger boy like me. I believe he's Yoruba. So you know, we, we are strong as well. We are very very strong people. Don't let what you see just because some of us have taken losses. Don't let it confuse you. These Dagestanis have taken losses as well. So yeah, man. The only thing with Islam becoming a welterweight champion, the welterweight division is very very stacked with talent, and they're all exciting. And with the type of style Islam has, he is going to make that division boring because I'm going to keep it real with you guys. A lot of the guys in that division that are good strikers can beat. Listen, you think Islam couldn't stand up and strike with he knew he was going to have to take him down, and he knew once he got the takedown and he thought, yeah, I can do this with 20 Matt. He said, yeah, I'm having an easy night. Because if he actually stood up with JDM, he would potentially get a Dustin Poirier fight all over again. And JDM's hands are way better than Dustin Poirier's. So, listen, hats off to Islam. His fight IQ is very, very good. I give it to him. He knows what he needs to do to get the win. And with that being said, that's why I think he will make this welterweight division boring. Because it was like Kamaru until Kamaru got more confident with his hands. So, and Islam doesn't really knock people out. I mean, he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, but most of his wins have been submissions. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the welterweight division. But with his style, he's going to make it a boring division. And I don't even know if the guys in that division can get the belt off him, because some of the better guys in that division are actually strikers, and very good strikers, snipers to be exact. But Islam will know, if he fights any of them, Islam will know my grappling is levels ahead of them. And one thing they kept saying during UFC 322, which is true, having good grappling skills and mixing in your grappling allows your striking to get better, and it allows you to open up with your striking more in a fight, because you give them different things to think about. The element of surprise, or the element of fear, will keep your opponent guessing, so you can now start mixing things in. And that's why Islam has been able to do so well up until this point, because he has that element of surprise. He has that element of fear that these guys, they know he can take me down. So if I start striking and I try to get my rhythm, I'm going to get taken down. So it leaves them starched. They can't even get into a rhythm. So, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev the next fight to make, or should he focus on defending his belt against a contender in the welterweight division? Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Like and subscribe, guys.